I'm going to share a well-kept investment industry secret with you now. The top one investor you must be following is, of course, the king of investing himself, Warren Buffett. If you would like to know what stocks you should be purchasing, look at what stocks the best investors in the world are buying. So in this video, we'll examine the 8 stocks that Warren Buffett has recently purchased. Now, there are some names on this list that are likely to surprise you, so be sure to watch to the end because you never know when you might uncover your next biggest investment. Large investors are legally compelled to disclose their stock purchases and sales to the public every 3 months. Now that we have an inside look at one of the biggest investment minds in the world, let's check at some of the stocks that Warren Buffett has been spending billions of dollars on. Buffett added 5 stocks to his existing holdings in addition to 3 new positions. So let's start with the 3 new investments and go from smallest to largest. As a result, the largest new position completely surprised me and possibly will also surprise you. The very first stock on our list is Jefferies Financial Group, ticker JEF. Buffett recently purchased 434,000 shares of the firm for $12.8 million. Jefferies has a market size of $8.75 billion and trades at a 10 times price-to-earnings ratio. Investment banking services account for around 85% of the company's revenue. Nowadays, the majority of people associate the word banking with their neighborhood bank branch and services like checking accounts, savings accounts, and loans to purchase a home or automobile. But what most people imagine whenever they hear the phrase banking is nothing like investment banking. Think of investment banks as being somewhat similar to real estate agents in that they assist businesses in gaining access to significant sums of money from other businesses or perhaps sell themselves to a larger business. If someone decides to buy or sell a home, for instance, they engage a real estate agent to assist them. Similarly, when a business wants to acquire another business, they hire an investment bank to operate something like a real estate agent. An investment bank will advise the company on what businesses it should look into purchasing, how much you paid for that business, and any other potential issues. Investment banks will provide that advice in exchange for a large fee. In some circumstances, tens of millions of dollars only for one acquisition. These fees are how investment banks generate revenue today. Additionally, when a business wants to reach investors, investment banks assist it in gaining access to huge sums of money. One alternative is to go public and start trading on a stock exchange like the Nasdaq or the New York Stock Exchange. This process is known as an initial public offering or IPO, and investment banks assist companies through it. The state of the economy and investor confidence have a significant impact on the investment banking sector. Companies and investors won't buy other businesses or wish to invest as frequently if they are concerned about the state of the economy. As a result, investment banks will earn less in fees because fewer deals are being completed, which is what is now taking place. Due to fears about the economy, investment banks have suffered a decline in revenue. It appears that Buffett took advantage of this weakness by investing in a renowned investment bank like Jefferies. Louisiana Pacific Corp is next on the list, ticker LPX. Buffett invested $297 million in 5.8 million shares of the company, which has a market cap of $4.6 billion and trades at a PE ratio of 4.1. Louisiana Pacific produces engineered wood goods and building supplies. The construction material company produces specialist wood goods such laminated lumber and a less expensive type of plywood siding. The company's products are used to build outdoor structures, repair existing homes, and modify them. The stock was traded over $70 per share last year, but since Warren Buffett started buying them, it has dropped to as low as $50 per share. Concerns about the housing market are the cause of the stock decline because Louisiana Pacific's company performance is strongly correlated with the volume of new homes being built. On the other side, when fewer new homes are being built, business is thriving. which is very detrimental to the industry. Many investors are concerned that the pace of new home construction may slow. There is concern that individuals will put off buying newly built homes as a result of this year's skyrocketing interest rates, which have made it more expensive to buy a house with a loan. As a result, the market for new homes is expected to slow down significantly. Investors believe that the company will not be able to maintain its current level of profitability, which is why the stock is priced at such a low price-to-earnings ratio. However, only time will tell. Buffett is living proof that there is always opportunity. Even in 2022, when the typical 60-40 portfolio of equities and bonds is performing worse than it has in a century, down 34%, and Goldman Sachs has just updated its investor guidance. What do they advise you to do with the difference? They claim that the recommended stock allocation has increased from 60 to roughly 45%. The third stock on our list is a genuine surprise. Buffett purchased Taiwan Semiconductor, also known as TSMC, ticker TSM. Buffett purchased 60 million shares for around $5 billion. Market capitalization of the corporation is $407 billion, and its PE ratio is 13.9 times. As of right now, Berkshire Hathaway is TSMC's largest shareholder. For those of you who are unfamiliar, TSMC is a semiconductor contract maker, which means that it receives semiconductor designs from its clients. The semiconductors based on such designs are then produced by TSMC. Apple is TSMC's largest customer. Semiconductors, also known as chips and semis, are used in many items including computers, smartphones, appliances, gaming devices, and medical equipment. Apple gives TSMC the specifics of how they want other semiconductors to be produced, and TSMC carries that out. Consequently, this begs the obvious question of why a business like TSMC ever exists. Why don't TSMC's clients just manufacture the chips themselves and eliminate TSMC from the picture? There are actually two main causes for this. The first is that purchasing the equipment required to have the required manufacturing capacity in order to be able to create semiconductors costs TSMC literally tens of billions of dollars every year. Even though Apple may have the money to handle it themselves, the majority of TSMC's customers don't. And Apple themselves would prefer to use those billions of dollars to develop new goods. The fact that manufacturing is quite challenging and necessitates a lot of specialized knowledge that takes years to learn is another important factor. Let's say I wanted to start a furniture company. I designed a chair, and I wanted to find a company to make it for me. I could find a manufacturer with the best knowledge and skills to successfully manufacture this chair in just a few weeks or months. This is because something like a chair is not particularly challenging to manufacture. Conversely, it is incredibly difficult to produce semiconductors. There aren't many firms that have the capacity to manufacture state-of-the-art semiconductors. Thus, if I were to come up with a design for a novel sort of semiconductor, I would have no alternative but to use TSMC. Customers of TSMC have no choice but to engage them to create their semiconductors due to these two factors: the high costs and specialized knowledge needed to produce semiconductors. Please don't feel terrible if you don't know much about TSMC or its business plan. I would characterize TSMC as the largest company that most people have never heard of. Believe it or not, TSM is greater than well-known corporations like Walmart, Chase, Facebook, Toyota, and Coca-Cola, and ranks as the 12th largest firm in the world by market cap. This price is justified given that TSMC generated $57 billion in revenue and $21 billion in profit last year, and that Buffett is now the stock's top shareholder, indicating that he believes there is value in the business. Let me know in the comments if you have any other questions about investing. Let's return to the video. Settle down and pay close attention because we are going to swiftly go over the following 5 stocks on the list, which are the ones that Buffett has been adding. The first of the 5 on our list is the Occidental Petroleum, ticker OXY. Buffett increased his ownership position in the company by 36 million shares, totaling 194 million worth of shares at $12 billion. OXY trades at a PE ratio of 6 and has a market valuation of $67 billion. Around 20% of the business is owned by Berkshire, and there have been rumors that Buffett wants to buy the whole thing. This isn't absurd to think about by any means. People began to speculate that if Buffett and Berkshire controlled 50% of the company, they may eventually look to buy out the other shares after Berkshire recently received approval to purchase up to 50% of the entire company. Being an oil and gas firm, Occidental Petroleum's overall profitability is strongly correlated to the price of oil. As an oil producer who makes money by selling oil and gas, Occidental profits more when the price of oil rises, and oil prices have recently increased dramatically. Buffett is betting that there will continue to be a high demand for oil and high prices for many years to come by investing in an oil company. Next is Paramount Global, ticker PARA. A total of 91.2 million shares, or roughly 13% of the corporation, are now owned by Berkshire, with the addition of 12.8 million shares to the portfolio. This investment is now worth $1.7 billion. The market capitalization of Paramount is currently $12 billion, and its PE ratio is 3.9. A media organization called Paramount Global was created by joining the smaller CBS and Viacom. Numerous media outlets are owned by Paramount Global, including the movie and TV studio Paramount Pictures, the CBS, and other cable networks like MTV and Nickelodeon that are well known to Americans. Additionally, they are expanding Paramount Plus, their own streaming service. Buffett has a long history of investing in the media. He invested in the Washington Post and the Buffalo News. In addition, he played a key role in the 1985 merger of Capital Cities, which owned regional newspapers, local TV and radio stations, and ABC. Buffett made one of his best investments ever with this transaction, and Disney ultimately bought the combined company. All of this is to imply that media firms fall well within Buffett's purported circle of competence. Buffett has gained billions. He must think the brands Paramount Global holds are valuable. Restoration Hardware, ticker RH, is third on our list. Restoration Hardware, ticker RH, is third on our list. This previous quarter saw the purchase of an additional 190,000 shares, increasing the total number of shares in the company to 2.36 million. This $580 million stake increases Berkshire's ownership share in the business to 9%. RH trades at a PE ratio of 13 and has a market valuation of $7.7 billion. A premium American home furnishings firm is Restoration Hardware. Buffett has long mentioned his preference for companies with pricing power, or the ability to demand high rates in exchange for willing customers. RH undoubtedly fits this description. A useful indicator of a company's pricing power is the gross margin, which is the difference between the cost of producing a good and the price at which it may be sold. Generally speaking, the bigger the gross margin, the better. Now that RH has gross margins of over 50%, and Wayfair, an online furniture retailer, has gross margins of only 29%, it is clear that RH has a significant pricing advantage over its rivals. It is also clear that RH has a moat, a crucial component of Warren Buffett's investing strategy. Next is Celanese, ticker CE. Its portfolio was increased by 500,000 shares, increasing Berkshire's total shareholdings to 9.7 million. Now that this holding is valued at $877 million, Structures own 8% of the business. With a $10.9 billion market value, Celanese trades at a 6.6 times price-to-earnings ratio at the moment. A global leader in chemicals and specialty materials, Celanese develops and produces a wide range of goods that are utilized in the majority of important markets and consumer goods. Buffett has a long history in the chemical sector. In 2011, Berkshire acquired chemical company Lubrizol for $11 billion. Lubrizol manufactures market-leading oil additives around the globe. Another excellent illustration of anything Warren Buffett has mentioned regarding share purchases in Celanese. If Celanese keeps buying shares at the same rate in the future, each share that someone owns will represent a larger piece of the company when companies repurchase shares. Without purchasing a single share, Berkshire will continue to increase its stake in the company. Large share purchases are one of the reasons Buffett's investments in Apple and Coca-Cola have done so well. Nevertheless, only time will tell if Celanese has a consistent result. Buffett has frequently discussed this idea. Chevron, ticker CVX, is listed last. Buffett purchased 4 million shares, boosting Berkshire's investment in the company to $165 million, for a total holding value of $23.8 billion or 8.25%. Chevron runs at a PE ratio of 10.5 and has a market valuation of $364 billion. One of the biggest oil and gas businesses in the world is Chevron. Chevron is referred to as a super major in the oil and gas industry. The oil and gas sector is typically broken down into 3 segments. Upstream, where exploration and production take place. Picture the pumps you see in some American cities. Then, there is midstream, which is where the transport and storage take place. Think of the long-distance oil pipelines. The third part, known as downstream, is where oil is processed for use and finally given to the end user. Gas stations where people fill up their cars would be an example of this segment. The supermajors are integrated, which means they take part in each of these phases rather than just one. Buffett is betting heavily on the oil and gas sector between Occidental and Chevron. So it's not surprising that Berkshire has bought significant shares in these industries, given Buffett's preference for cash flow generating enterprises. Hope you have learned something from this video. What are your thoughts? Comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click the like button and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell for you to be updated on our latest videos. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Want to learn more and be more financially literate? Click on the next videos we have in our channel, showing on the screen right now.